The world's cheapest car will be on the market in July. Available in India, the pint-sized car will cost just $2,000. While the car has no bells or whistles, it gets 55 miles to the gallon. Manufacturer Tata Motors says the original idea was to give those in underdeveloped countries a chance to own a car. But, it says, the World Economic State has heightened its ambitions, including developing models for the U.S. and Europe.
Free services at public libraries are an escape for many in this economy, but local librarians say they are facing some tough choices ahead. I visited the Arlington Central Library recently to find out more. Arlington County libraries are stocked high with free books, CDs, and DVDs, and their employees encourage patrons to log on for fun or maybe a new job.
Director.
You can do it at the library, and it's free.
But just as people are tightening their budgets,
I have stopped kind of buying books from the bookstore.
So too are Arlington libraries.
People love their libraries and they want them to be open when they need them, and there's that balance between how can we still provide effective service with diminished resources. You can't have it all.
Arlington County libraries are closing the books on excess services and operation hours. Librarians here say this trend is continuing across the country, and cutbacks are especially difficult when more people today are borrowing rather than buying. Arlington libraries will not cut programs in next year's budget, but rather reduce service hours at 3 of the system's 8 locations. Branches like Aurora Hills and Cherrydale will be open 3 days a week instead of 6. All libraries will be purchasing fewer new materials. Many Arlington residents have been vocal about the service cuts, taking to forums like Facebook to rally support. But Kresh says changes can be made to the budget if the economy turns around.
We cut $961,000 from our budget, so it would be an opportunity to revisit those decisions again, build our collections budget back up, for example, restore hours of service, restore staffing levels.
In the meantime, librarians advise patrons to plan ahead, maybe order books online to make a trip across town worthwhile. There will be a meeting tonight and tomorrow where citizens can address county and library officials about the proposed budget.
The museum laid off 13 people last week, its second staff cut in 5 months. The museum is receiving less revenue from its primary funder, the Freedom Forum, which has lost about a third of its endowment. But the museum is trying to attract more visitors with free admissions offers. A spokesman for the museum says the 1-year-old facility is still testing the waters in a city brimming with free museums.
Newspapers are going bankrupt. Viewership of the nightly news is declining. Everywhere Americans look, trouble is spelled out for the media and the headlines. But one news organization seems to be in the clear, National Public Radio. Annie Aho has a report.
NPR is reporting record ratings, a jump of nearly 10% over last year. Some cite election coverage as the reason for the spike, others liberal coverage in a Democrat-run administration. AU journalism professor Jill Olmstead says it's about a sophisticated audience with high expectations.
I think we shouldn't underestimate the intelligence of the audience. They're looking for something that is thoughtful and reflective and not just all these quick sound bites that everyone else in the world is using.
Washington, D.C.'s NPR affiliate, WAMU, has seen a bump in numbers across their scheduled programming as well. WAMU spokeswoman says the ratings are a result of NPR's standard of journalism.
I think that the increase in the audience shows that there is this growing desire for balanced coverage, for depth, for insight into what's going on. These are important stories, some of the biggest stories that we're likely to see: the economies, the wars, climate change. These are issues that people want to get some depth to and some context, and that's what public radio does best.
Although ratings are up, funding is not. In December, NPR cut 7% of its staff and eliminated 2 of its news programs to help its budget. But Summer says WAMU isn't worried. Their loyal audience will stick with them through thick and thin. Annie Aho in Washington, D.C. for District Wire News.
When we return, a look at a vintage hobby that is still enjoyed by many in the district.
And students at a local university celebrate diversity. We'll be right back.